Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Art of Writing It Down. I am one of your co-hosts, Mason Anderson, joined by my lovely and always knowledgeable other co-hosts.
I'm Paul.
And I am Alexis.
All right. So, group stage for Worlds has just started. We're going to start by looking into an overview about that, disappointing teams, surprising teams, then maybe, give some predictions about how we think week 2 is going to go, because there are a lot of interesting things that could be going on around there. But, like I said, group stage just started. We had, again, World's event, best and biggest event in the league community. Alexa, I'm going to start with you. Who is your biggest surprise or disappointment? We'll just kind of do the roundabout. If you want to start with your surprise or your disappointment, you have the floor with this.
I'd say my biggest disappointment, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows, it's just TSM. They just did absolutely horrible in group stages. They went as far as to not even win a single game. And I think the biggest disappointment is, I could go ahead and talk about, how Doublelift didn't do all that well in some of the games, how Bjergsen really just messed up in his LeBlanc play, how Broken Blade sometimes died to a couple games, how Spica wasn't all that present. I think Spica did well, and I think Biofrost also did well, but I think the main thing that plagued them this entire group stage was just that their draft was completely and utterly horrible. Every single one of the 3 games, TSM just immediately lost in their drafts, and I don't know who's to blame. I don't know whether it's their head coach Parth or whether it's some of the players inclining and telling them hey, I think this is a good pick, I should pick this, or I'm comfortable with the champion, so I'm gonna play this no matter what you say. And I just gotta say TSM is definitely my biggest disappointment. Surprise wise, I don't know. I wasn't really surprised with anything else. I guess I could say surprise-wise LGD, considering that they won 2 games. So I'll consider LGD my surprise.
As we were saying before, LGD, when they play against wildcard teams, looks like a wildcard team. But when they play against a major region, they look like they're from a major region.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very coin flippy. To kind of build on your TSM point, you look at some of their drafts, and it's like they're trying to blend their comfort picks with what is meta. When you look at the game against Gen.G, you have Zillion, Senna, Rakan, which is comfort. That's Doublelift. As much as people meme his Senna, it's a comfort pick for him. And he played it a lot in playoffs. You know what I mean? Biofrost is a really good Rakan. He can play Rakan, and everyone knows about Bjergsen Zillion. And then you randomly pick Renekton Nidalee, and I know Nidalee's fine. Nidalee's a fine pick there, but when have we ever seen Broken Blade execute a Renekton to what it's supposed to do? And so the comps just feel really disjointed. There's no synergy between these champions. Like you pointed out, the random LeBlanc game that Bjergsen played.
Oh, it was absolutely terrible.
There's no reason to play LeBlanc there. You could, hold on, I'm pulling up the draft right now so I can see what was banned. Because, sometimes it does matter. A lot of people that will say, oh, they just randomly picked this champion. Sometimes you do have to see who is banned.
But going off the second game that you were talking about, where they picked Zillion, and that was definitely Bjergsen having a comfort pick on a Zillion. I don't see, him going to that comfort pick was definitely it's definitely just completely utterly pointless, because in that draft they rushed Renekton and they rushed Nidalee, which those are 2 good picks.
It's the standard top side, red side pick where you always go Renekton, Nidalee, even though I'm of the Church of LS, so I don't like Renekton, but I know why it's picked.
And you first pick those, and that's good, that's fine, that's all right. But then I think in their lock-in phase they picked Zillion, which
they picked Zillion third.
Yes, they picked Zillion third, which is Renekton and Italy, it's like you're not forcing a comp. You're not like trying to do anything. Like those are two picks within themselves. You could build another an entire team around them. And you picking Zilean, you're once again showing like, all right, we have these two early game champions, and we don't really have that much late game power. So
let's get it.
We're picking Zilean right now to resort to save our late game power. But then we see in their draft that all Gen.G needed to do was ban Twitch, and they already had banned Caitlyn. They had banned some other champions.
You take away the best. You take away the best hyper carry.
Yeah, they banned Twitch, and then they're left with nothing. And then TSM is there scrambling, trying to find something. When if they really wanted Twitch,
you just pick Twitch.
You pick Twitch as your third.
Like you could, like I know people say, well, Twitch is only good with Rakan. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, that's the most aggressive lane you can be, but Twitch can be played with with the Lulu, with the Yumi, with other Enchantress supports.
If you're going for Zilean, which no one else is gonna pick Zilean.
Exactly.
Like you pick Twitch, I don't think Gen.G is gonna respond like, oh, we need to take away Zilean from Bjergsen.
Right.
You pick Twitch, then you could have another mid lane like Orianna, anything that's like sort of protecting. You have Yumi, you have all these
and you build a like snowbally death comp.
Yes.
Where even if Renekton doesn't get that far ahead, you have insurance.
Yes.
You have and I 1000% agree with that point. Where it just felt really disjointed. You look at the game against LGD. You have Shen Graves, which again is a very standard topside rotation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have Ezreal Bard, which is a lane where Bard can really become unlocked because Ezreal's a really safe laner. Mm-hmm. And then you pick LeBlanc for no reason.
And once again, it was that one third pick mid lane. Why are you picking it?
Exactly. If you want Bard, like you could have. I don't know when it was picked, but like just looking at the comp in general, it's like
Bard was fourth or fifth.
Yeah, so LeBlanc's not necessary. Like there's plenty of power that you can still get. You can get Galio. Galio's perfect.
In fact, I think it makes this team comp worse picking LeBlanc. That's the only thing it does. It just makes it worse. Like,
and even then, what boggles my mind even more is that LGD banned Twisted Fate. Mm-hmm. So you can pick Galio, and there's no roamers left. No major side lane roamers in the mid lane left. So now you force LGD to play. We're like, well, we can't really play around these side lanes because Bjergsen can answer with Galio. Like, what is LGD gonna pick? Is GA gonna play ASOL?
Yeah.
Talia in 2020? Like, I mean, I know I play Talia, but GA's not about to pull it out. So yeah, I completely agree. Paul, do you kind of have any thoughts on TSM?
My thought is I'm enjoying the conversation, so keep talking.
Yeah.
But, and even that, like, once again, going back to the second game, you're left with no hyper carries, and Doublelift ends up picking up Senna.
Right.
It's like, that messes up the comp only more.
Right.
Now you don't really, I mean, Senna, it was so sad seeing Doublelift on Senna, and the casters, like, talking about it. Like, there was a point where it's like, they were analyzing the comp and how, like, well, Senna can be a late game carry, and then they talk about like how Senna's stacks can make her be that late game carry, and then they look at Doublelift's stats. He only had 20 at like 20 minutes when usually other Sennas would have like way more. Yeah. It's like
you need soul generation, and in that lane you can't generate it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so no, I completely agree. But if I had to pick a disappointing team, honestly. Again, TSM's a really good point in terms of disappointing teams, but I'm kind of disappointed in Gen.G as well, in a way, because the way Gen.G plays is they're a very clean team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They play around BDD and Ruler, and they just kind of suffocate the life out of you. It's like the old Korea.
Yeah,
you mean? And their game against TSM, it's clean, but we all agree. I think we're all in agreement here. TSM kind of just lost that game in draft.
Yes,
I mean, the draft is super just disjointed. But then you look at when they played. Where's the game where they played LGD? Like, they won, but it wasn't clean. Mm-hmm. Like there was a bunch of. They tried playing that scrappy Lucian Gragas, a very scrappy team comp, and they won because, let's face it, they have more talent than LGD.
Mm-hmm.
But LGD certainly could have won this game. And then it kind of bit them in the butt against Fnatic. Because Fnatic was not... I mean, Fnatic had won the early game, and Gen.G started to crawl back and crawl back and winning fights, and then they just blew a complete fight, and the game was over. Like, it's not the Gen.G that... And it's not like Ruler and BDD and Life, Clid, and Rascal have been playing bad. Yeah. They've been great, but this group is like... There's no clear front runner for this group. And honestly, I kind of expected Gen.G to be that front runner. Be that team that just dominates this group because, you know, they play some of the cleanest League of Legends that we have. It's not the most exciting, but it's clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's going to be really interesting to see how Group C finishes out, because if LGD and Fnatic and even TSM, if TSM can find a chip in that armor and play spoiler to one of these teams, you know, that you kind of have to start thinking like, well, like, you know, who's gonna falter first? Because I think all three of the teams have beaten each other.
Yeah. There's
kind of like a three-way tie, and then TSM's in last, sadly. Yes. Where I think Fnatic beat Gen.G, Gen.G beat LGD, and then LGD beat Fnatic.
Yeah. I mean, they're all tied to
We kind of have a rock, paper, scissors going on, so...
Honestly, at this point, TSM, they're just playing disruptors. They're the only thing that they're doing is, like, they might take a game and make someone fall out of that second place.
And then kind of another team... I mean, I'm not surprised by their results, but another team that was kind of disappointing was PSG Talon.
I honestly, once I heard that their substitutes were coming back in, I kind of had in my mind like, but their synergy is pretty good.
Yeah, like they played really well.
Yeah,
and it's not the record, because I kind of expected them to be 0-3, or at least 1-2.
Yeah, I expected them to
at least beat Rogue. At least beat Rogue, but they've just looked so uninspiring, and like teams are just rolling over them. Yeah. Like that game against Damwon was not close. Damwon just crushed them. Like it was so brutal. It was over by like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, this game's done. And again, I guess a surprise team would be Sunning. For me, my surprise team is because, you know, they look really good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, again, it's a team that I hadn't watched a ton of, but SOFM looks great in the jungle. I mean, he's probably challenging Kanabi and some of these other junglers for best jungler here. Huang Feng, who's their AD carry, is super reliable. He's kind of like tactical-esque, where, you know, they have their moments, but you can always just rely on them. Like, they're not a super hard carry, but, you know, they have their moments. They were mechanically sound, technically sound. They know the game, they know their role, they know their champion.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised by that from Sunning, and I'm kind of excited to see how they fare in this group. Obviously, they're tied with TL for first place. Not TL, I'm sorry, G2 for first place. And TL's right behind them, who TL and Machi are right behind them. And so this is another group where it's kind of anyone's game.
Honestly, yeah. Group A and Group C are the only groups that have like any contention between them, because Group D and Group B, we kind of already have an idea of who's going to come out on top. Right. Because Damwon has... I mean, sometimes we'll see it's like, oh, they're faltering a little bit. Damwon and Top Esports in Group D, they look great. They're playing to the best of their ability, so...
And even then, Dragon X and JDG as well, both look great. You know, both of their wins losses are, of course, to JDG is to Damwon and Dragon X is to Top Esports.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dragon X and Top Esports, we saw some interesting picks throughout the group stage. We saw Knight, the superstar young mid laner, pull out Nocturne mid.
Yeah.
I know European caster Vedius was just blew his load to that. We've seen Draven.
Yeah.
We've seen Draven
in that same game.
Yeah, we saw Draven in that same game. We've seen Draven throughout the tournament. Kind of, what are your thoughts on that? You know, like some of these players pulling it. We've seen a Quinn in that same game too.
Yeah.
We saw a Quinn. Yeah. In the year of our Lord 2020, there was a Quinn.
Which, I mean, the casters did talk about a little bit. Quinn is used as a counter pick in the LPL.
Or? Yeah, it's mostly an LPL pick.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts about that and some of the other more intriguing picks that we've seen throughout this group stage?
Anything weird and fucked up is good for the game, honestly.
Right.
I think like the Quinn and the Draven, that's just exciting.
Right.
Especially hearing Draven's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings back some fond memories, from
Right.
seasons past. So
Right.
I like seeing the Draven.
No, I 100% agree.
Might suck though.
Yeah, it might suck.
Did it win one of the games and it lost one of the games?
I believe it did. I think it may be 2-1. I know I believe Huang Feng played in one game.
Because I know the one against it was Top Esports versus DRX. It ended up losing. But even then, it was like there was a team fight where Draven got 2 of its kills. He was, I think, before that team fight, he was like 0-1 or something like that, and he was like very far behind in the game. But just that team fight, he got very he was able to get his adoration stacks and was like, wait, this game might turn around, and then they ended up immediately losing after that. But like it's Draven's not very reliable, but he's certainly entertaining and fun.
He's a solo queue champion.
Yes,
he's the perfect. The way someone described it was he's a perfect solo queue champion. Because he literally has an ability that makes you win more. And that's all about solo queue. Yeah. And so, I kind of like the Draven pick in scenarios where, you're against the Twitch. It was in the top esports game, it was against Senna. It gets Ezreal. Because Draven, well, I don't know about Ezreal, but at least against Senna and Twitch, with a support that can help you force onto them, like Thresh, Leona, Pantheon, Khan even, where you can be aggressive and just take it to these AD carries that want to scale, get items, because Draven level 1 has some of the most damage in the game, just based off auto attack on an ability that he just constantly has going.
Yeah, and as we've seen for these Dravens, they're constantly just pressing their W. They build tier, Manamine, and they're just constantly. They just have this attack speed steroid constantly going on the entire time.
Right, and I think the reason they do that is because you get slightly more damage as the game goes later. Again, I don't know. I don't play Draven. I'm not going to try and sit here and tell people that watch this that the Draven that builds bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just normal Draven is fine. But again, I'm not a Draven player. Nor am I LS, so I'm not going to try and speak on itemization.
That was the first time ever seeing that, but like that's why I assumed. It's just like to constantly keep them up, and it's also like another reason I guess why they're picking him is because usually comps are never going full late game team. So the reason they're picking either these like hyper carry Twitch or Senna is because they need it for the late game, because they usually pick like Nectin or something up in the top, so that way. And then they play topside, so you're just free to do anything you want.
So Draven's power curve will always be slightly above most of the champions' other power curve.
Yeah.
And then once their curve starts declining, once it goes late game, Draven's is still fine because he has the scaling item in Mana Immunity, and he still has a ton of base AD. But we also did see a Nocturne mid this game,
which you did start off with.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in a while, but I'm a huge proponent of Nocturne mid. I think in certain scenarios it works really well, and this time it was against the Twisted Fate, which I actually kind of like, because Twisted Fate lacks kill pressure on him early, where Nocturne kind of struggles. Yeah. And Nocturne can start answering his roams once they hit level 6 with the Paranoia. Yeah. And plus, it was also an answer to the Quinn, because Quinn, for those who don't know, Quinn in team fights is pretty bad. Because you're basically an AD carry in the top lane. Yeah. You're just like, if your AD carry's level 11, I'm Quinn, I'm level 13.
In team fights, you get like 1 or 3 auto attacks.
Yeah.
At most, and you're happy with that.
And you're like, alright, I'm out. I'm going back split pushing. And so, we saw Knight a lot of times in that game just punish Quinn. Sometimes a little
Knight got punished back.
A little overeager. But there was a clear focus. I would say we're going to go at Doran. We're going to throw a lot of stuff at him, so this Quinn ends up being more useless than Renekton. As if the game goes later. So I actually kind of like it. We've also seen Echoes. I'm a huge Echo proponent. I love Echo. We've even seen Silas, which I did say I wanted to see more of. And here we are.
I haven't seen enough of them, I think.
Right, haven't seen enough of him. Any other picks that we want to see? Any whack? I know you want a Garen or a Singe or a Mundo.
Something stupid like that.
You said a Mundo last time.
Yeah, no, Mundo would be great. I'd love to see Mundo come back. Still on the Singed, of course, but that's in my dreams. Same with Garen in my dreams.
Singe does have a world skin too. He does have a I think a Samsung Galaxy White that played him.
What year was that?
Season 4, I think, because that was the second year RNG made the finals and lost.
What does it look like? Can you pull it up?
It's the one with like the white tower shield. I think it's white,
Yeah,
right? It's white and blue.
Yeah. Here, I can pull it up. Singed. Yeah, but that I'm gonna beat you to it, Alexis, because I already have the league client opened.
Ooh,
that one. Oh, you already have it.
I can't tell what the hell's going on. Oh,
yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess not a lot of people play him because not a lot of people play Sim.
Yeah, because not a lot of people play
Dude, let me just say that I hate Singe mains because they know more about the champion than I ever know. I'm like, this champion's so simple. Like, why is he doing so much?
Yeah.
Like, how is he just running around and out damaging me? I don't get it.
To play Singe, you're trolling or you have a galaxy level brain where you understand the minion waves and you're manipulating everything, and essentially you're playing a chess game.
Yeah, like someone even said, like, Singe is like, if you want to learn wave manipulation, play Singe, because that's like the biggest thing to learning Singe is just manipulating waves. You know what I mean? But honestly, also we did actually see a Maokai, which I was gonna say, I think. In terms of top laners, like we even talked about with the Dr. Mundo last week, we said if there's a run on top laners, you could see, people playing mega tanks like Maokai and Mundo, especially into Ornn, because what is Ornn gonna do? I mean, sure, he's Ornn. He's probably gonna do some stuff. He's gonna be annoying to play against because he is a top lane tank mage assassin.
He's everything.
He is. He really is. But we see Maokai trying to answer it. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a Mundo try and answer it as like a split push tank. You know what I mean? Because
that'd be cool.
In a team fight, maybe if you have a Lulu, can you imagine Mundo Lulu in pro players' hands? You want to see someone pentakill by standing still? That's Mundo Lulu.
Mundo Yumi.
Yeah, Mundo Yumi. Like,
oh god.
So I wouldn't be shocked if we ever saw Mundo.
But we are seeing, besides Maokai, we are seeing Maokai being picked in order to get those like hard.
The Rock Man. Yeah. I am with LS. I'm a huge proponent of Rockman in Worlds this year.
Yeah. I
refuse to. I'll call him Malphite sometimes, but I love calling him Rockman because that's his character. I mean, he's just a big rock.
Dude, every single time I see his character model in the league, I always think like the big thing is his head, not like the small little thing.
Yeah, the big thing is his face. Like everyone, I always thought that for like the longest time. Like, wait, that's his face?
It's tiny.
Does he have a head?
Yeah, it's little. It's like a little
tiny
thing. It's like in the middle of his body.
Well, he basically is just a sentient rock.
Yeah.
Like the episode of SpongeBob.
But it's like a head chipped out.
Yeah. Well, it's not chipped out. It's like a protrusion.
Get up, Malphite.
Yeah, look up the Malphite character model, but it's like the episode of SpongeBob where they have to deliver the pizza.
I didn't watch SpongeBob.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I know what you're gonna
Yeah, he drives the boulder. You know what I mean? That's his head.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you always think like this is his head.
This is his head, because that's where a head would normally be.
Yeah.
But not on Rockman. Rockman's special.
Rockman has tiny head.
Yeah, Rockman has small head, but I actually really like Malphite in the current meta, especially against answers to like a lot of heavy AD comps.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where like you have a tank jungler and like a Volibear, and you have a set somewhere where there's not a lot of magic damage sources. To where Malphite just thrives when there's no magic, like barely any magic damage, because.
He could just build armor. He's gonna dive in front.
Yeah, he's gonna dive.
Yeah.
He actually does a lot of base damage, which is shocking for building full tank. Like you can one shot people.
Yeah.
Just going full armor.
Yeah.
So
and especially like in this scenario, you just need to eliminate someone because there's not a lot of teams where like everyone's gonna be the carry. Usually in these world teams, it's gonna be
And even then, especially if they play like Enchanter supports, Malphite is just like the premier pick against that. Because what is like a Lux or a Lulu going to do? When Malphite presses ult over a wall and just bonks them. So, but yeah, I'm a huge proponent of the Malphite, of the Rockman. But moving on, back to groups. We have week 2 coming up, where the groups will all play. Each team will play every team once more, and then from there, if we have any tiebreakers that are necessary, they'll play the tiebreakers. Again, 1 seed then will determine the 1 and 2 seeds for getting out of groups. 3 and 4 seeds will in those groups will be eliminated.
What's going to be the biggest stomp?
Oh, the biggest stomp?
TSM.
Anyone playing TSM. No. But because we talked a lot, I know we talked about Group A, but let's start with Group D, which I believe is the group with Top Esports and DragonX. So I think we're all in agreement that DragonX and Top Esports getting out of that group.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest took 1 game. I don't think
against Unicorns of Love.
Yes. Which what's it called? Talking about like special, or going back to the previous talk we talked about, where it's like special picks. Yeah. Unicorns of Love have been picking some like pretty spicy picks for the bot lane. However, they're also 0-3, which might be the reason why there's a
reason. Because there's a difference between picking Karthus bot against R7, whoever R7's AD carry is, and playing it against Jackie Love. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I get it. Karthus is good, but I'm pretty sure Jackie Love just kind of dumpstered him that game.
Yeah, you're picking it as like, oh, it could be entertaining. Yeah, this might be fun to watch.
It's entertaining.
But then you see that they're in different leagues bot lane, and Karthus can't do anything bot lane.
Also, speaking of that, we've also seen the Fat Man Gragas being picked more, which I actually like because he's a more engaged style jungler that can also one-shot people because he usually doesn't build full tank anymore. All I want to say is I don't want to see Eve. I hate that champion, not because it's bad, because it's broken. And it just, the more Eve we see means the more Eve I have to ban in solo queue. You know what I mean? And I have a burning hatred for that shit, even more than like Fizz.
Yeah.
And like
it's not entertaining. Well, I guess some people might consider it entertaining. But it's
the people that find it entertaining are masochists and just love pain.
Yeah, because I mean, it forces kind of the players and everyone just to like play completely and utterly safe. Like it completely stops and prevents any action from happening all around, because you have to worry about this thing constantly.
Eve, I'm sitting in the alcove.
Yeah. Which I mean,
no one wards the alcove with the control ward.
Yeah.
I gank your lane, you die. Do it again? That's usually how it goes.
Top lane we pushed out. They're teleporting back. Oh, nice.
They didn't immediately back off into their fountain. Time to kill them. Yeah. But getting back on track here, do we see a scenario where DragonX maybe force a tiebreaker or even beat Top Esports for the 1 seed in that group? Because I think most of us are in agreement here. Those are the 2 coming out of that group.
Well, the only upset that I could ever see in Group D is like somehow FlyQuest like ends up getting second just but narrowly beating DRX, but I don't see like DRX overcoming Top Esports. I think Top Esports is
leagues above them.
And I don't think they're gonna. I'll even be bold enough to say that I don't think they're gonna drop the game. I think they're gonna stick to other groups.
I can see that. I definitely think. I think there is maybe a small world. It's a small world where DragonX maybe beat Top Esports once. I mean, I said on another podcast that I think they're both gonna go 5-1, and then Top Esports gonna beat them in a tiebreaker. Just because I think if DragonX can pick a comp that scales better, and they like playing more defensively. I don't want to say they're Koreans FlyQuest, but like that's how them and Gen.G play very similar. Where they want to play safe, they want to let their superstar AD carry scale up, play 5v5 team fights, and Top Esports and Damwon want to throw that to the wind, and just, okay, guys, we're all TPing topside, like,
Yeah.
at 5 minutes. We're tower diving.
We're making sure we're getting this kill, and there's nothing
The
to do to
support,
stop
like,
us.
plays till level 3 and then says, alright, you good? Alright, I'm leaving. I'm going mid.
See you later.
Yeah, see you at 20 minutes when I get back to lane. And so I can see a world where Dragon X. I can't really see a world where they beat him twice, maybe once, and then poor FlyQuest and Unicorns. I just don't think they're gonna. I think Dragon X and Top Esports have like way too much to play for, and I think they're just way too talented.
I see a world where Unicorns of Love bust out the Teemo bot and they end
Oh,
up
they're-
winning against the
If
RX.
they do it the last game, they are 1000% picking Teemo. They are 1000 picking like Teemo, Garen, Yorick, like
They're going the full
Udyr.
Clown Fiestas.
they're gonna go Udyr Skarner bot lane. You know what I mean? Paul, do you have any thoughts about that? About Dragon X Top Esports?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking yes. Exactly.
Yes. All right.
I think
Well-
they're gonna stomp.
Oh, stomp! It's
Yeah,
gonna be a
no.
stomp.
I think they are actually gonna stomp.
Oh, all right. All right. Bet. Well, when we reconvene next week when the results are out, we got
You'll
you.
see, man. I'm gonna be sitting here on a pile of cash because of it too.
The savant Paul,
I'm telling
Nostradamus.
Is
of
that
the
either that
podcast.
or Paul's gonna ask you to sleep over at your house since he lost all his money?
Yeah, sorry, I lost all my money.
you. Spare a dime, man.
So, then the other group that's also very, very two elite teams, then two teams that kind of very thank you so much for coming, and we really enjoy it is Group B,
Yeah.
which is Dragon X, not Dragon X. I'm sorry,
Damwon.
and I get Damwon and Top Esports like they were like the same team, but Damwon and Gen.G with Rogue and who's
PSG.
PSG, that's right. I don't think PSG wins. I don't think they win a game. I just think they have way too disjointed with their full roster back, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think,
Sad.
yeah, which is sad. Which is sad for my pick'ems because I picked PSG to
So did I.
third in that group. Sad. I guess Larson's just too good for PSG. But now, do we see a world where Damwon drops a game to Gen.G? Because personally, I think this is a better chance of Damwon maybe potentially losing a game and losing a tiebreaker to Gen.G.
Yeah.
I think
do
they
see
play
that.
very similar. I think if Damwon slips in the early game or in the mid game in that transition phase, I think Gen.G can take it and run with it. Gen.G is a team that excels at playing off mistakes and then just running away with the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely. I'm not going to predict it, but I wouldn't be shocked if this group goes to a tiebreaker between Damwon and Gen.G.
I could see that as well. It's not that decisive as in Group D, where I think Top Esports is gonna completely wreck it. But I could see Damwon is doing has shown that they're pretty good.
Right, they're 3-0. So.
Yeah, of course, yeah. When I say pretty good, they're fucking amazing. But,
they're 3-0. They're undefeated. Pretty good. They're alright.
I think Gen.G definitely has not exactly the full talent to match, but I think they could take a game or two away from them.
Right. And Gen.G, I think this is the second seed that a lot of teams don't want to face because they have such a lot of talent. And they have, again, Kanavi's, again, like I said, the best, last week I said he's probably the best jungler in world, and he's playing like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then they still have Yagao and all these other superstars, young superstars. You know what I mean? And the way they played against Damwon, sure, Damwon eventually beat him, but they kind of tested Damwon a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Damwon's probably going to win this group.
Yeah.
I think that Showmaker is just way too good. Canyon is right there with Kanavi, and even then, Beryl and Ghost have been playing great. I mean, they're very self-sufficient until the entire team pulls up bot lane. But yeah, now to the big kahuna. Group C, otherwise known as the group where everyone is 2-1 and TSM's 0-3.
Yeah, I call this my group Trail of Tears.
The Trail of Tears.
I'm so sad.
It feels bad. It's like the one group where TSM's like, yeah, we got a good group, and then you're like, this group sucks. Why couldn't we get Group A? You know what I mean?
It's so bad. Like what I think my predictions coming out of this group is definitely just like Gen.G and Fnatic. I can't really place either one of that one or second. I think typically they could take games off of each other. It doesn't really matter. I think those two are going to come out. Once again, LGD, they're doing better. I'll give them that, but I don't see a world where they're coming out of groups.
Right.
I didn't think they were gonna do that well in this groups, and they haven't really proven themselves all that great as well. Like in their 2 games that they did win,
it was TSM
against TSM
and Fnatic.
And Fnatic was which was I think it was a close game. So
it wasn't really a close game. I think Fnatic just kind of messed up in terms of drafting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me pull up the draft really quick because honestly, funny story about this. When this game happened, I woke up. I woke up to the alarm of it because I have an app where I can it gives me the alarms for Fnatic games. Right? It's a great app. Well, it's for all esports, but I have alerts set for Fnatic.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I missed right there. Oh, Fnatic won! Sweet. Put down my phone. I was like, let me see how Fnatic won. Check the game. It's like, wait, they lost. I was like, huh. I guess they lost. But I mean, Fnatic's comp was set top, Graves jungle, Syndra mid, Jhin Thresh bot against Ornn, Kindred, Echo, MF, and Nautilus. So it's kind of even lanes, but I think this was the game where Selfmade didn't take Flash because there was a game they were talking about.
He took Ignite.
Yeah, he took Ignite Smite.
Yeah.
Which
we saw the impact of him not being able to flash in some of those crucial
and
moments.
so I think if he takes Flash, this is a closer game, but why? That was my question when I was watching the bottom. Why?
Well, I think the idea is just if you ever encounter the jungler or in some of those
Kindred,
games, you can just not smite. You can ignite and you definitely just win.
Right.
And especially Graves against Kindred if they ever find each other in the jungle for some reason.
Right, for sure.
Graves just kills and instantly and can pull that lead ahead.
But I will give credit to Peanut in this game though. He played it perfectly.
Yes,
he was very conservative. When his lanes pushed up, he walked because he knew he had to get assistance. He had to fight Graves. And Selfmade, who's had looked like the best jungler in this group, was kind of just null and void this game. He didn't really do anything. Therefore, no one else could do anything.
Yeah.
Because, MF eventually just got rolling, and LGD's comp is built to just run you over. With the Ornn, with the Echo, with the Nautilus.
Yeah. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Peanut and his,
Jungling?
His what's her name? Kindred pick?
Right.
But, in this game, Peanut's Kindred was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
His ultis were on point every single time. He stopped, Set from doing anything or, killing, executing. He stopped Syndra.
Lysandra, where?
He stopped Syndra a couple times from just pressing her R button, which is, it was really good. This comp was, really good to go against there.
I will agree. Peanut's Kindred's kind of on the fence, but Kindred just against Fnatic's comp was awesome.
Yeah.
Because what could Fnatic do? Again, Selfmade wants to burst someone down with this build, and he couldn't because Kindred ult. Yeah. And because even then you have an Echo who has the reset. You have Nautilus who's just naturally tanky. You have Ornn who, good luck killing him with lethality. You know what I mean? You have
Kramer, which if you have, and you have MF, which if she's protected throughout the team fight,
and they had no way to get onto her because they have.
And if they did, Peanut.
In a comp like LGD had, if you're Fnatic, you have to counter dive with dive. I mean, you can't play a 5v5 death ball lineup and then have divers come into you while their damage sources are being untouched. And so I think Fnatic they just misread this game, and it was a really good draft by LGD. I don't know if LGD can do that twice though.
Yeah.
I mean I still have a lot of trust issues. I'm in a relationship with them, but I still have a lot of trust issues with LGD. I'm not sure what kind of Peanut I'm gonna get game to game. I'm not sure what Shie or even Mark I'm gonna get game from game. Yeah. Kramer's fine. He's been playing fine. Same with Gen.G.
Yeah. Which, judging from this draft, I think if unlike TSM, Fnatic's coach can learn from their drafts, and
Mithy.
he can do something. Which, like, if the reason we're seeing Gragas is if someone picks Kindred, Gragas ulti, and they become very much less impactful.
It's a great Gragas.
Yeah.
But like Graves is such a priority pick. I personally understand why. I just would rather like an Eve or a Gragas or a Hecarim even. But I know why Graves is picked, and I'm fine with the Graves pick. But then even then we haven't even talked about the other team that's 2-1 in this group, Gen.G. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which I just see I'm just seeing them as like they've lost they lost a game, but I just see them as honestly one of the most well-rounded teams in this.
They're very well. Yeah, right.
So like I don't see them losing to LGD anytime soon again. Definitely don't see them losing against TSM. Fnatic might drop a game, but I'm seeing Fnatic as being the second or first.
I think this group is very rock. Again, I said it before in the podcast, and I'll say it again. Fnatic's very rock paper scissors. This group is very rock paper scissors. Where I think LGD is more designed to beat Fnatic, because LGD frankly has a better early game than Fnatic. Fnatic designed to beat Samsung Galaxy, Gen.G.
What year are we in?
Yeah, 2014, Dade and Deft and Mata, you know what I mean? But they're designed to beat Gen.G because they're very chaotic, and they're very committed to skirmishes. Gen.G's designed to beat LGD because they play very clean. They can withstand a lot of these early game shenanigans, you know what I mean? And get into the mid to late game with Ruler and BDD. You know what I mean? So I think it's very interesting. I think if there is a breaking point in this cycle, it's Fnatic beating LGD or maybe TSM sneaking. Because if TSM is going to beat a team, it's going to be Fnatic.
Yeah.
Because Fnatic, there will be games where Nemesis is just poo-poo head. I'm going to pick Corki and Valkyrie into you. There's games where Whippo just picks Rengar top for no reason.
He's just dancing on camera, not even playing a league. He's
playing Rengar top, and against Urgot or Camille.
Yeah. And
then Reckless is like, guys, please, I'm just trying to play Senna here. I'm just trying to scale, and they'll do that. They will do that in certain games. Yeah. And
then people on Reddit will be like, NA number 1.
Ooh, NA 3 and 7. Yeah. But so I could definitely see TSM maybe sneaking a game from LGD, because we've seen LGD struggle against teams that they're supposed to beat, like R7 and Victory 3, and so I think that this TSM team, they are playing Disruptor now. The pressure's all off them.
You know what? I could see a world where TSM learns from their draft picks and they're able to... I'm sorry, I couldn't make it past that sentence.
You started off so well. And then just... You know what?
No, that's not happening.
Man.
But we can go on to Group A.
Parth is in shambles. Group A, I think, is a really interesting group. I think that they can learn. They start with G2. They obviously beat G2 but I don't think they'll beat G2 again. I just think that G2 plays really well. I could see a world where they beat Sunning, but maybe not. It just depends on what Broxa and TL Jat that we see. Yeah. Because if Broxa shows up, they play great. If he doesn't...
If he picks Lee Sin...
Yeah, if he picks Lee Sin and then plays scaling... If he picks a scaling Lee Sin, where he'll see you at level 19, and TL Jat's like, alright, Ornn Lee Sin.
Yeah. These are the hardest scaling team fighters in the game.
I think G2... I still say G2 and TL could get out of this group.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if Sunning gets out of this group, and poor Machi.
Yeah. I had Machi as second pick for this group. My pick'ems is destroyed.
They haven't looked great. They beat TL. Yeah, you beat TL, but then they played against G2 and LGD, Sunning Gaming, and They were there.
Yeah.
They're on the rift.
So I think this group is sort of similar to Group C, where like
Right.
it's these three
It's-
teams battling against each
Right.
other for the play.
And I could see a world where TL gets out of this group.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I think they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully they do, and then they get smashed by top esports in 3 games.
I'm gonna be hopeful and go with the Western teams and say G2 and Team Liquid
I don't
make it out.
actually. If that happens, I don't think 2 Western teams have ever gotten out of the same group.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I think that would be a first.
that would.
You know what I mean? Which hey, that'd be good.
2020, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. That means TSM's going 3-0 and winning the group.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for the Art of Running It Down. Check us out next week when we get to talk about the wrap-up of group stage and preview the quarterfinals. Yep. For all of your fellow apes who run it down in your solo queue games, this is the Art of Running It Down, signing off.
Fuck yeah.